Hi guys, my name is Alyssa and welcome back to my channel. Today, or right now in this video, we're going to talk about Mercury Retrograde. And I figured I should just have a video on this because Mercury Retrograde happens about 3 to 4 times a year. So every time it happens and you want to know information, you can just like rewatch this video. That just makes logical sense. So Mercury retrograde, hello, is happening right now. And when it happens, shit hits the fan. Kind of. So, first of all, you probably want to know the technical terms. When Mercury is like doing its thing and like going in a certain speed and doing all this stuff, it decides to stop in the middle of what it's doing. But since the Earth is still moving, and Mercury stopped, it looks like Mercury's actually going backwards. It's like an optical illusion. It's an optical illusion, and it goes backwards. So it's called retrograde, as in retroactively going backwards, but it's not really going backwards. It's staying still. Mercury is standing still, and the Earth is still moving. So what is Mercury? Why is this important? Well, Mercury is a communication. In your natal chart, it's also like your logical mind. So when Mercury stops, it's like our minds stop. So that's the first thing that happens. Our minds stop working. Our minds can't process information the same way that they used to be able to. They move slower. It sometimes seems that we're processing things backwards and we get caught thinking about things that happened last Mercury retrograde or a long time ago. Because Mercury retrograde happens 3 to 4 times a year, as I previously stated, you might find that when Mercury goes retrograde, you think about the exact same things. For example, let's say Mercury retrograde a couple times ago, I received some bad news. Then Mercury retrograde goes away. Then Mercury retrograde pops up again a few months later, and guess what? That exact same bad news resurfaced again in a different form. And then nothing really happened. Mercury retrograde wasn't there anymore because Mercury was moving forward, and then all of a sudden Mercury goes retrograde again. You know what I'm prepared for? The exact same information, maybe a little bit changed from the last 2 Mercury retrogrades ago. Because when Mercury stops, the idea stops there. And it waits. And then it goes forward again. And then when it stops again, it's going like, oh, let's remember what happened last Mercury retrograde, shall we? And then you're forced to remember it. Something else. If you start a new thing when Mercury is in retrograde, it normally fails or it is not what it's going to be. A couple times ago when Mercury was in retrograde, I just started to do chart readings. And I did written chart readings. And it's all I could really think of. My brain was, because Mercury was retro and I was pregnant, was going very slowly and not really able to move. It took me a long time to think things through. And so I decided to write out 4 to 5 page essays on people in their readings. And I gave that to you guys. I could not do it for very long because the idea was beautiful in itself. It was not thought out as for my lifestyle and what I would be able to do. I couldn't be making these readings and giving you videos because it took so effing long to do. So eventually it goes on and on and on, and I've changed my readings into Skype sessions, which works a lot better, but it took my mind to go forward thinking in order to figure that out. So normally if you start something during Mercury retrograde, it's just going to change, and it's not going to be what it was when you started it if it doesn't fail. It will either fail or it will change. It will evolve into something that makes more sense to suit your lifestyle because you're not really thinking. So another thing that happens is communication between 2 people becomes stagnant. It becomes annoyingly stupid. It's like you have an argument and each one of you is brain dead and you never reach proper function as a couple, as a relationship, as the 2 people talking. Another thing that happens, way more internet fights, right? If your internet is working, because here, technology fails. It fails hardcore internet stops working, computers crash. If there's ever a time to back up your information, it is before Mercury goes retrograde, because your information can fail. Another beautiful thing is that things get lost in the mail. So if you've ever had something lost in the mail, it was probably during Mercury retrograde, if anyone even uses mail anymore. I found that sometimes you'll email somebody and it will just get lost in the virtual realm. That email never makes it to the other person. Why? I don't know. It's Mercury's in retrograde. It's basically because information sharing comes to a halt. And so technology is information sharing at its quickest at this point. Therefore, it can't allow information to be shared quickly, so it has to fail. And it fails. You're not supposed to sign any documents because your brain's not moving quickly enough, but it's not necessarily true. If you know that Mercury's in retrograde and you take the time out to just sit and stew over something for a long time, put it away, stew over it again, your brain can actually function quite normally, just slower, and you can be observant and you can see what you need to see and you can sign a document. If you allow your brain to just go crazy and you're just signing documents over, you're probably going to miss something. And so you want to err on the side of caution. But the thing is that when Mercury goes retrograde, it stops so that you can think things over. And so if you're really paying attention, it's a great time to finalize things, to clear up loose ends. What happened from the last Mercury retrograde into this one? What went on in your brain? What went on in your relationships? What happened in your work and your communication and your cars and your houses and your signed contracts and shit that you can finally look over and have the time to just settle normally, if you know what I'm saying. So you can actually use it to work to your advantage. Because information's not computing properly between, say, two people, it might be because you actually let a lot of things slide before. Like maybe you're actually having real legit problems with your spouse, with your best friend, with your parents, with, a business partner, something, and Mercury goes retrograde and all of a sudden it's like you can't talk to that person. It's probably trying to have you figure out why you can't talk to that person, and it probably has nothing to do with the fact that Mercury's in retrograde. It's just reminding you that you have issues that need to be resolved. Mercury goes retrograde so you can resolve your issues. So that's why finalizing something, signing something, not a big deal if you're paying attention. If you're really looking at it and trying to really figure out what you're supposed to do with the time that you are given. Mercury retrograde can also help you with your dreams and things like that. Like if you've had these goals and these ideas and you just really want to get this accomplished and you just find that life moves so quickly. When Mercury retrograde happens, everything stumbles and you're like, everything sucks, so la la la. But then once you're halted, you get to refocus on your dreams and your visions, and you get to start drafting things and planning for things and trying to figure out why you couldn't solve these problems before, why you couldn't go in on your dreams before. And then you get to bring it to the now, the future, and you get to set it out and you get to figure out what you're going to do with it. And it slows you down in that way. But say if Mercury retrograde is in Aquarius, you're going to start to think about your innovations and your ideas and things like that. Say if it's in Cancer, you're going to be reevaluating your family life and your family situations. Maybe it's in Sagittarius. Maybe you have to reevaluate your travel dreams. In Capricorn, like things like that. So if you understand the sign that it's in, you can understand that. I'm not going to go through each sign. Oh, goodness. The best way to handle Mercury retrograde is just to understand what it is, to allow the frustrations to take place, and just kind of prepare for it. Prepare that things aren't going to be working the way that they're supposed to, and just allow yourself to take some time out, because it's only when you're just go, 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 go that Mercury retrograde fucks with you. So kind of show it who's boss, and you'll be okay, and life will go on, and blah, 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 and then Mercury will go direct, and you'll be that person that's like, yeah, I make it through Mercury retrograde every time, and shit just doesn't happen to me. And that's your life, and that's really cool. And I'm really proud of you. What am I talking about? I'm stupid. Okay. Anyway, if you haven't, you can subscribe to my channel for things that don't have to do with Mercury retrograde. And I will talk to you all later. Okay, bye.